Welcome back to the Retail Media Roundtable podcast. We're recording live here in Amsterdam at the Retail Media Impact Summit. I'm very happy to be joined by Stanislas Lajouanie from Liveramp. Stan, would you just do a quick intro of you and your role, please?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much for having me. Very happy to be here for that first edition, I believe, which appears to be super successful. I'm the VP of Brands and Commerce Media for Europe and Latin America for Liveramp. So what that does mean is I'm in charge of the sales for Liveramp across these two regions for every type of brand and every type of retail media or commerce network, but everything outside of the publisher, which is a different team within Liveramp.
Great. And so today at the summit, one of the kind of themes that is coming up and we're exploring is the rise of commerce media. And we've talked a lot about this in our Retail Media Committee, which we've actually rebranded to the Retail and Commerce Media Committee. How do you define, or how would you say commerce media is actually different from retail media, as we've kind of been talking about it for some time now?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of new retail media join the game, and these players are basically selling the products that brands are giving to them for sale. So they have a commercial relationship with the end customer. The big difference within commerce media is any company that has a direct interaction with consumers can have a play in that industry if they have potential media capabilities that are interesting or potential data that are interesting. So I think there are differences between the two when you look at retail and commerce media. On the data front, I think retail are bringing a lot of purchasing behavior data, and they have the transactional data on the final product in the end, which is super useful to power measurement and incrementality, lift analysis. When you look at the commerce on the data front, this is a little bit different because they bring other types of signals. We are talking about finance players, airlines, hospitality or hotel groups. So they give more socio-demo data. That is also super interesting for the brands. And then, of course, on the media side, I think they bring something that is totally different from the retailers. These types of players have a different type of media or inventory that they can sell. So if we take concrete examples, of course, you're not spending all of your time within your retail app. So they are giving you inventory outside of that, but in places where you are very prone to looking and you have a very high level of attention. So if you look at airlines, you can be spending from 1 hour to 10 hours in a plane. So it's a very good spot for having dedicated, personalized conversations. Same thing as a Uber in the US. They're doing, of course, before you get the Uber, is a very good place for putting an inventory, but also when you are in the taxi, basically, that's a super spot. So it's different media that they bring to the table and different data that they bring to the table too.
And I think with the kind of different data, I think the need for robust measurement is probably, we're getting to a point where it's greater than ever in commerce and retail, right?
Yeah, I think in these two areas, but as a whole, in fact, when you look at the way the ecosystem and media consumption has changed in the last 10 years. It's moved from a place where there was 2-3 different channels to something that is a lot more fragmented with new social media, new CTV and streaming platforms, retail media, now commerce media, and an upcoming Gen AI and agents that are becoming to become, in fact, media places as well. Well, the consumer attention is fragmenting. And if you are a marketer, if you need to maintain your reach and your relevance and be interacting with the consumers at every time of their journey, well, you need to be active in all of these channels. So then in a constrained and complex economic context, if you are a marketer as well, you need to understand which media dollar is best invested in which media platform. And then the whole question of measurement comes is where should I allocate the next media dollar, which is the one that is bringing more impact. So that's where exactly measurement is absolutely key for you to decide on which of the channel you should allocate your media strategy. And I think in this context, all the players and platforms that are bringing capability to measure, so we are seeing more and more platforms bringing conversion API capabilities. We are seeing more and more retailers bringing measurement following the IAB measurement standards, but also clean room capabilities to help the brands measure are the ones that are going to be sustainable in the spend portfolio of the CMOs.
And you mentioned clean rooms there, and I hear a lot about them being kind of positioned as the next kind of enabler of media measurement generally, but particularly in retail and commerce media. For those who are kind of newer to the concept of clean rooms or hear a lot about it but don't really understand, what we're talking about, how would you describe a clean room? And not only description, but also what's the value add to any other kind of existing measurement infrastructure we already have?
So yeah, first of all, quick definition of a clean room. I would call it a very safe technical environment for two or more players to share and overlap data. So basically, these clean rooms could serve simple use case such as overlap between two data sets to get more consumer insights, and the more advanced clean rooms then are connected to the ecosystem for activation or for measurement. So,
and to quickly interrupt, is it a new concept? Are clean rooms new, or have they been around for a while? And I don't know, like how would you?
I think there's been a lot of focus around since I think until the last 10 years around brands collecting their first-party data, and secondly, leveraging the signals they could find, notably on the open web, like with third-party cookies. But when that disappeared, or when it became a lot more difficult to collect the relevant data for privacy regulations, security constraints, well, the next move is where are you going to get the relevant data to know your consumer? So from 2P partners or 3P partners, and that's when clean rooms started existing. Also, we have seen in many industries, collaboration around data exists for a long time, but there has been new regulations coming, which have also accelerated the need for safer and privacy-safer infrastructure to do this collaboration. And of course, what I didn't say around the clean room, these are privacy-safe and built in order to enable overlap and data sharing on sensitive data. So what we call sensitive data on the GDPR definition is like personal data, for instance. And so so this data, these infrastructures are super relevant when it comes to measurement. You have several ways to do measurement, but if you want to be in a position to do a one-to-one match between a media impression, so a media dollar that you've spent, and the behavior of a consumer and a purchase, you need to be able to match somehow the different data sets. And if you're talking about retail media on-site, a retailer would have both the impressions and the transactional data, so they don't need to have a clean room. But if you talk about off-sites, which all retailers are going after now, that on-site becomes saturated, then how do you need to get access to exposure logs from the platforms or from the publishers or from the DSPs and bring that back to the transactions. And even more true when you look at commerce media. Well, commerce media players, they don't even have the transactions. So even for media that they are selling, what we could call their on-site capabilities, then you need to connect that to transactions. So that's one reason. So connect data in a safer way around one unified identity so that you can match consumers around the different signals you have. And secondly, I think, it's a lot of the work that IAB is doing around driving standards, driving methodologies on around measurement. I think more and more brands are thinking, I'm going to collaborate with more and more media channels, notably including retail media and commerce media. How do I myself build my own measurement standards to assess these different partnerships that I'm building? And clean rooms are a way for them to get access to the data and deploy their own measurement methodologies.
It just sounds kind of smart, right? It just sounds like it just makes sense from where I'm sitting. It kind of, But
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Can you share an example? Like I always like real kind of life examples of where a clean room, such as Liveramp, has unlocked kind of new insights or improved performance of a campaign for either for a client or a retailer.
Yeah, totally. Two examples that are both on the measurement front. We have many types of examples that are very interesting. Simple ones, notably around audiences suppression, for instance. So a brand collaborating with a retail media. They want to be able to activate on their own site, but they don't want to display an ad to consumers they already know. So they use a clean room to overlap data, do suppression, and they gain more effective media dollars, let's say. So these left these aside. I think on the measurement side of the story, historically, when you look at the past years, no social media platform was in a position or accepting to send exposure logs back to the brands. And so as Liveramp, we are a third-party neutral partner to these players, and we power the measurement in our clean room for the brand. So the way we do it, so we have retailer partnership on one side, social media partnerships with the likes of TikTok, Pinterest, Spotify, Snapchat, and there is the brand. And in the end, what we do is we bring those two signals within the clean room. And for a brand that is advertising on a social media, we then give them a visibility on the lift that their campaigns generated in store. So we are going to present some results around this today. And I think these are a very good example of what this provides, like an insight that you would never get elsewhere. And another one that we're testing and deploying in the US right now, it coming soon in Europe, is like, when you think about it, where if Clean Room enable you to have a one-to-one relationship with a publisher or a platform to do measurement, why would Clean Room, which can enable collaboration between two and more partners, not also enable you to do multi-publisher partnerships and then kind of fuel or improve or fuel your MMMs that you're traditionally doing? And so this is something we are doing, and we have launched with several publishers in the US. We just enable them to bring their data exposure logs within one and only Clean Room for a brand to basically understand which are the media channels that are the most interesting for them, depending on their objectives. Yeah, exactly. So that's something that is only possible with a clean room, and I think is a very interesting use case.
That sounds very exciting. That's great. So I think we're almost out of time, but I've been asking everyone this. Can you sum up the event today, the Retail Media Impact Summit, in 3 words?
Yes. So I think seniority is going to be the first one. Well, based on the people that I've seen this morning or talked to that are coming here, it seems that you have achieved to get very senior levels and the ones that are on stage to the event, which I think is very interesting to discuss strategic topics. I think innovation, kind of, in the types of the content that you're providing through the event and the different formats, I think is super interesting and making it super dynamic and interactive. And expertise, because we are going from strategic discussions, but also down to very more deeper and technical ones, which I think is also very interesting because, well, there are many types of needs from the players and the people that are attending these types of events. And sometimes we have a tendency to, just lay out the big words on the table, but not explain the concept behind it and explain in simple words. So I think this is very important that you and we go down the details and explain the use cases and how they work so that everyone understands it's not that complex overall.
Great. Well, Stan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've learned a lot and hopefully everyone else has. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.